Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, as you guys can see on the screen, it is, and it has been made official that Eddie Reynoso and Andy Ruiz are now formally working together. As you can see on the screen, you got Andy Ruiz to the right, you got Eddie Reynoso there in the center, and you got Cal Power himself, Canelo Alvarez, there to the left. Now, this is very interesting news. It's interesting to see that this finally happened because there was a lot of talk about this recently. There were reports and there had been interest expressed mutually within the media by both Ruiz and Eddie Reynoso. And now it's official. Now they've gone that route. And I'm very intrigued by how this is going to go because when we look at the Eddie Reynoso stable of fighters, it's growing at a solid clip. He's got a lot of quality fighters in that stable. Obviously Canelo. He's got him. He's got Ryan Garcia. He's got Oscar Valdez. He's got Julio Cesar Martinez. He's got all kinds of just fighters that are notable within the weight classes. Guys that are world championship caliber or that are pushing towards, becoming world champions. Guys that are world champions or guys that are world championship caliber. All over his stable. He has those kind of fighters. I'm interested to see how this goes for Ruiz because when we talk about his career, Andy Ruiz, he's a guy that's had so many trainers, good ones too. He's had the likes of, Freddie Roach and Abel Sanchez and, most recently, Manuel Robles. So cynicism and cynical thoughts would lead us to ask, well, if those guys who are all good trainers in their own right, if they couldn't get a tune out of Andy Ruiz, then why would Reynoso, who's never really had any sort of success in training heavyweights, why would he be able to get a tune out of Andy Ruiz? Why would anything be different? Because like my good friend Stacey McKinley says, not everybody can train heavyweights. Just because you can train fighters well from flyweight and middleweight and light heavyweight doesn't mean you can train heavyweights because heavyweight boxing is different to all the other weight classes. There's no weight limit. Fighters fight until like the late 30s and sometimes in their mid 30s can be their prime. So heavyweight boxing is a lot different than the smaller weights and other weight classes in boxing. And I'm very interested to see just how Eddie Reynoso handles training not just a heavyweight, but a very notable one. Andy Ruiz is not just any heavyweight. This guy was the first Mexican heavyweight champion of the world. This guy is definitely quality. He had a fight many years ago at Joseph Parker where a lot of people thought he won. So depending on who you talk to, he could be looked at as an undefeated fighter. So he's a quality fighter, Andy Ruiz, and I gotta be honest, like I've said many times, I was extremely disappointed with how he approached the Anthony Joshua rematch because he really had made me a believer from the first fight, and to go on there and just throw away and piss away such an opportunity to be the cash cow of boxing and to beat Anthony Joshua again, it's inexcusable. It's absolutely inexcusable. So what Eddie Reynoso is gonna have to do is be able to manage this guy's nutrition, his eating habits here, his love for pizza and burgers and french fries and tacos. He has to make sure he monitors that and he can keep that in moderation. And also, it's not just all on him. Andy Ruiz himself is going to have to get to a place in his career where he doesn't want to be shortchanging himself and cutting corners in the gym, which ultimately means he's cutting corners in that ring. You see what I'm saying? But let's get to this article over here because Boxing Scene put out an article. And they right there, the quote has been transcribed in Spanish. He says, so basically Eddie Reynoso on his Instagram page says, welcome to the team, Andy. Let's give it a good go. So he's got every opportunity in the world to change his career around, I'm sure Andy Ruiz is looking at this as a new beginning for himself, as he should. I want him to. I want Andy Ruiz to go and approach this as optimistically as possible and just do his best to keep himself at a good fighting weight. Now, when we look at his career, there's a lot of good options, attractive options out there for Andy Ruiz within the heavyweight division. You have that Joseph Parker rematch, that I think would always be a fun fight. You have within the PBC, you have guys like Luis Ortiz, Robert Helenius, Adam Kaunaki. There's definitely matchups out there for Andy Ruiz. And speaking as somebody who's a fan of boxing and a fan of his, I want to see him get back to his best. I want to see him if he can. I hope and I pray that he can recapture that form from June the 1st of last year when he looked exceptional. We saw a guy that had impeccable counter punching abilities against Anthony Joshua, amazing hand speed, fantastic punch placement, you know, and there's definitely the opponents out there for him to recapture that. So that's what it is. You know, this ain't gonna be no long drawn out video. Andy Ruiz has made the switch to his team. With Eddie Reynoso, there's a lot of attractive options out there. You know, you got your Charles Martins, you got your Michael Hunters, Parkers, you got Kaunaki, Ruiz, Hellenius. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you make of this whole situation with Ruiz and Eddie Reynoso? And who exactly would you like to see him fight next? Personally, for me, I think a fight that would show me a lot for Andy Ruiz would be a Luis Ortiz fight. Because regardless of how old Luis Ortiz is, you know, he is a guy that for 5 or 6 rounds does show good mobility. He does show the ability to box. He's a good southpaw counterpuncher. And he's the kind of fighter that if Andy Ruiz is out of shape, he'll give him problems. And if Andy Ruiz can show the ability to cut the ring off and lure a guy like that into exchanges, it would let me know that, hey, Andy Ruiz is serious. Andy Ruiz is back. He's here not to just to take part in the heavyweight division, but attempt to take over the heavyweight division. And I think he's really talented and he's a fantastic fighter. So I really want to see him get back to his best. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this whole Eddie Reynoso switch. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just kidding, Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.